All right. I'm so excited to introduce our Direction, Not Perfection community today to Brad Williams. He is the host of the Over 40 Fitness Hacks podcast. And he's also a personal trainer, a gym owner for over 12 years. I feel like we have so much in common already. Welcome, Brad.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lindsay, for having me on the show.
Yes, I just want to dive right in. I cannot wait for everyone to even bop over and just listen to your podcast because I feel like our niche is very similar. The over 40. Go into why this is where you kind of landed. Tell us all about your podcast, all about your clientele.
Yeah, so started my podcast about 3 years ago, just like a lot of other podcasters during COVID. It seemed like a skyrocketing amount of people. It was kind of themed on, I've been a personal trainer for the last, I think, 14 years and gym owner for 12 years here in Orange County, California. And it was pretty much just my niche was just the over 40 crowd. That's just happened who came into the gyms and looking for personal training. And, I was more comfortable with the basic body toning, weight loss, and the struggles of the aging process, and then would refer out to people who are doing athletics or bodybuilding or any of that kind of stuff. So I just felt more comfortable on that. And then years passed, a bunch of different gyms and tons of personal trainers renting space for me over the years. And, doing business in California has just been a struggle, to say the least. Had my ups and downs and kind of more started approaching the online world. It's more scalable. It can help more people. You don't have the high brick and mortar costs. And kind of dwindled down to one gym, which I still have, and a few personal trainers, and started doing more of the online training. I've been a personal trainer for all these years, but I've never really experienced what some of my clients were talking about, how hard it is to lose weight, how hard it is to keep motivation, the life and family, all that kind of stuff. I'm the younger personal trainer and be like, yeah, you need to come in more days. You need to work harder, be better on your diet. And then now I'm 42 now, but when I was closing in on 40, I'm like, oh my God, these guys were right. It is way harder. I'm a personal trainer. I'm struggling. These poor people. And so that was kind of the theme of my show. I refuse to give up and quit. I feel that that's what people come to me because I've tried everything out. I've done every diet, done every training program, and I'm passionate about it. So why not just do a show about that? So
Yes. Oh, I love that. And I'm like nodding along with when we're younger, we're like, I won't be like that. I won't have those struggles. And then all of a sudden, I'm 42 as well. And yeah, life changes, right? Our bodies change. We need different things. We have to grow with it. We will dive into your hacks because I know my community's like, all right, let's just go there. But for a minute, what do you find are some of your clients' biggest struggles? Like one of the things that you say are staying fit without losing your social life is one of your taglines.
yeah.
So I'm curious, do you hear that a lot out of your clients that they're worried that they're going to have to put in so much time that they lose other aspects?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's more them coming to me saying, I'm not going to give up my social life. So you need to work around this. And that's what I've kind of noticed over the years of what area you live in. We have a fun party spot, which is Huntington Beach in North Orange County. I've just noticed all these people. There's just so many restaurants. You got the beach. There's so much nightlife going out that's just what I have is all these social people and they're unwilling to give it up. I'm like, okay, no problem. We'll just work around it and have to play with this and play with that. And then yet you go 10 minutes in a different direction. And then I like to use Irvine as an example. I don't know if you know where that is, but that's where a lot of businesses are. It's like business parks, chain type restaurants, but not too many options. And there's not much going on in the city. Someone has to drive out to go do anything. So a lot of people just stay focused on their business and what they're doing. And if they're into fitness and, the fitness studios over there are just absolutely crushing it because so many people care. So I'm in a different boat over here, but I accept it. And I also enjoy my social life and still going out on weekends. And I've got my rules and everything. So that's what I'm going to promote. I'm not the diehard bodybuilder or athlete. I do like sports, but I like having fun too. So I kind of attracted over the years.
Yeah, I love how we all fall into our own little niches. And I always say my clients come to me and go, I know what to do. I just need to do it. So that has taken me down my own path. And to your point, like seeing people who are literally only a town over and going, their needs look different. I want our listeners to hear that today because if we all assess our surroundings and our needs, this is why it can't be a one size fits all a program, that it has to be that individualized. When they work with you, you're going to understand their needs, their specific needs. So walk us through a specific client that you can think of where you're going, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is how we fit in their workouts. Even though they're going out, they're still living a social life.
I kind of coined it the four pillars of fitness, at least in my eyes, in order of importance. So number one being diet. How focused do you want to be on this diet? And they're like, well, I'll diet these days, but I want my weekends and this and that. Okay, so you're going to put little effort in there. That's okay. And then we'll start building healthy habits on there without them noticing, over time. So then we go down the pillar of the second one. That's kind of my bread and butter, being weight training, building lean muscle mass, raising your BMR. That's your basal metabolic rate. And it's so much more efficient than the third one, which is cardio, which I'll go into. The process of working out and tearing down the muscle and the hormonal response of building that muscle burns calories. The process of hopefully you're having a high protein diet or something close to that and assimilating protein to build more muscle, that burns calories. And the third one is once you have this higher lean muscle mass, this raised BMR rate, you're burning more calories sleeping and just laying down doing nothing. So that's kind of the whole focus in the personal training world is if that's what you want and that works for you, then we'll go that approach. And it's just so much more effective than what the next one would be, and that'd be cardio. So cardiovascular is great for your heart and everyone needs it and needs to add that into the program. Once you are doing the activity, burn your calories and stop, that's it. It's over. We got to supplement through all of them. That's why I have the four pillars. And then the last one would be supplementation. I try to preach doing whole foods and organic the healthiest way if you can. It's just when it comes down to it, certain people are going to be missing certain nutrients or not going to get it. Then we have to go the supplement route. I usually going to refer that out to nutritionists or supplement stores and that kind of stuff. But I know a lot of stuff. I'm just not an expert in it. So. But usually all my clients fall within, okay, I'll kind of 50% put effort in the diet and I want to go more onto the second one, the strength training. So that's been my bread and butter.
So let's not leave that topic for a moment because I feel like I work with a lot of women, moms, grandmas who I feel like they do go the cardio route first. It's like the pound the pavement or the go for the walks. And it's harder to shift people into let's get some more resistance training going. So give us so much motivation behind you've got to do this. It's not an option type of thinking.
Yeah. So just like I was just saying before, raising your BMR, your basal metabolic rate is just so efficient because those three-pronged effects that you get from doing it and burning calories and making your body a fat burning machine, you could still do all your other stuff if that's what you're passionate about. And, I preach that with clients, if you're a cyclist, if you're a runner, you like Pilates, do it. The time you spend with me, obviously you heard about raising your lean muscle mass and that's why you're coming to me. We don't have to put that much effort into it. In fact, becoming 40 myself and having a few injuries non-related to fitness, just tripped and kind of blew out my back and I've had surgery and had to recover from that. There's just been more of a focus on my mindset of taking things slow and with more quality, not just repping out as much stuff as you can in an hour and a half if you're really a gym junkie, but doing it slower and better. And you can get in and out of there in 20, 30 minutes. Your body doesn't need that much stimulation to get that hormonal response to build that muscle. Everyone thinks, well, you got to do it until it hurts, until you just can't do anymore. No, you're just tearing your joints down and you don't need to do that much damage to your muscles that you think. So a philosophy that we've seen in the last 10 years is called time under tension. Of just holding more poses like you do in yoga or doing things slower like you do in Pilates. And you don't have to call it, that or yoga, Pilates, weight training. It's just the theory of taking things slower, be more mindful of the mind-body connection. As you're doing a simple squat, taking 5 seconds, slow it down to go down, and then 5 seconds coming up, breathing through the whole process and feeling like your glutes. Squeeze them. You don't have to let your body naturally do it. You focus on it and you do that. And when you do it this way, you get more out of it. You recruit more muscle fibers. You can do less reps because you're so exhausted after like 6 to 8 reps. You don't need to do 20, 30 reps. So that's kind of the approach I bring with my clients, as well as also incorporating balance. I'm huge into balance as well.
So go on with balance. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so certain people want balance for surfing or sports, but across the board in all our programs we do, balance is just huge, especially with as we age and we get to that 60, 70, 80 mark, slips, trips, and falls, or they just can't happen because our body, we're just not going to recover as fast, if at all, in some poor cases. So we do balance training across the board. And some people think, okay, what's that, standing on one leg? Well, yeah, that's part of it, but there's other things of standing on imbalanced devices like Bosu's and balance trainer pads, different ones that have like pegs on them. But it's not just doing squats. It's also turning your head certain times when you're doing a squat or a lunge. Being in motion, staying with the lunges, like doing lunges and turning and shifting and using like a light weight or a medicine ball, even extending your arms and coming back. Anything that puts you off your center, or what we call your athletic stance, of flat feet, knees bent in the ready position, anything to throw you off, and then being able to come back to that center position quickly and effectively. That's what balance is. So incorporating that into all the exercise is easy. They don't even know we're doing it.
Thank you so much for highlighting that. I really hope our listeners hear that today because a lot of people feel like when I hire a personal trainer, they're just going to beat me into the ground. They picture the Biggest Loser, Jillian Michaels type training. And the reality is that we can use personal trainers like you who are going to keep us functional through all of life. That's what's really cool about hiring somebody is that what might seem insignificant, to your point of like just a head shift movement with a lunge or with another movement, that's just built into their workout without them having to think about it, right? Like
Yeah.
we need to be utilizing trainers for these reasons more so, I feel, than the huge strength training. Like if that's your thing, if you're going to go bodybuild, great, but like most trainers are more functional if we can find the right ones. What are some of your watch outs for grabbing a personal trainer?
I think, Yelp is always a good start. A lot of us in the business can't stand Yelp because of their algorithm and how they kick off reviews and all that. But still, that's where a lot of people spent their time and put reviews down and, sifting through the bad ones. I do that for any place I go to, whether it be a restaurant, a store, or hiring somebody, looking at the 1-star reviews and seeing, are they real or is someone just crying and putting something nasty on there, or was it relevant? And then, obviously, what works for you? Do you need the motivation of having someone in front of you? So you want to find a local trainer. If you want to do it at home and have more of an online coach, or you vibe with someone you heard somewhere on YouTube or a podcast or something, and that works for you, that's fine. It doesn't take much to build a little home workout routine. And also, it's not to say that you can't do both. Hire someone for a little home routine, and also because you want the camaraderie, go to your local boot camp gym and all that kind of stuff. But I do preach that before starting something, I like using physical therapists to do kind of an assessment all over. We do assessments too, but physical therapists just they're the next level. Just one session just to see what you got going on. And then also before you go, if you're into boot camp gyms because they're a little more affordable, hire a personal trainer just for a few sessions and maybe do a little check-in. And then if you really want to, then you hire that trainer and stay with them or her. But just go through that process first before you go out in the wild and start doing what you want to do.
Thank you. You're so good about painting this picture. And thank you for saying the physical therapist. I literally just had a conversation with a friend because her knees are bad, like blew out both knees in soccer. And every time she goes to a trainer, she feels like she gets hurt. I'm like, start with the physical therapist. Let them tell you what is an absolute no, and then take that to your trainer. We all need to work together as a team. And I think most trainers are wonderful about bringing on the team, bringing on the dietitian, the physical therapist, the brain component, even with psychologists. We need all of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I want you to go into some of your hacks. And before this leaves my brain, when you were saying basal metabolic rate, just for anybody who doesn't know what that is, that's how many calories you burn in your day. So what Brad is helping us do is burn more calories in a day through the workouts. And a quick question, do you feel like your clients ever go, I don't want you to make me bulky. Like I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to get bulky.
Yeah.
Talk on that.
Well, mostly my female clients come in with that. And I'm like, the process of putting that bulk on. Look at me. I've spent a lifetime of trying to put bulk on, and it's hard if it's not your direct dedicated focus. Don't worry. Building lean muscle mass, a pound of muscle is the size of your fist. A pound of fat is about the size of a football. It's so lean. It looks good. Now, there are certain genetic things that varies from person to person. Okay, it will grow a little bit more than usual because maybe the muscle attachment is a little shorter, so it'll have the appearance of being a little bulky. And we can watch out for that too. But it is so hard when girls think like that you're going to put on that bulk. It's just not going to happen. Professionals trying to bulk up have the hardest time doing it. So, and then the one thing too, when someone comes in new, I tell them right off the get-go, the scale is the worst thing to use. We go by visual, we go by measuring, to tape measure. You're probably going to gain 4 to 5 pounds of muscle because muscle is dense and heavy, more than fat. So you're going to put on 4 to 5 pounds of muscle first before we'll finally start seeing the fat and the weight drop. And then that also varies from person to person depending on their starting point. So, I get that pretty much every time.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that you addressed that right up front. Those expectations are everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Walk us through your hacks. I can't wait to hear these.
Yeah. So kind of on the diet side, one of the biggest hacks I've discovered, and I call them hacks just because it's more trendy, they're just fitness tips and suggestions. But the whole theory of intermittent fasting, I don't know where you are on that, and I kind of preach all my stuff. It's not for everybody, but I like trying everything. I feel like it's my job, and that's why people want to come to me and be like, "Have you tried this or done this?" And intermittent fasting is just a simple theory of it doesn't matter what diet you're on, or even if call it a diet, but it's just crunching whatever you're doing into a shorter time window, and kind of work with your medical professionals on if that's okay and how tight you can do that. But for myself, I've kind of crunched my eating window into a 6-hour window, and then I fast for 18 hours. And for being over 40, like I said, even a personal trainer is having problems keeping that extra weight off because I refuse to give up my social life. And since starting that, I'm just seeing such tremendous results. I feel better. I feel more energy in the morning in that fasted state. I feel like my workouts are cleaner, better. I've got nothing moving around in my stomach. And I see the results from it. And, I still try to hit my macros. So I still get the protein I need, the fats and carbs. And it's just, you're on a time schedule now. You got to get this done in the 6 hours. But just if it sounds like something you'd like to try, start out with a larger window and then come down a little tighter. And then I know for women who are trying to conceive and all that kind of stuff, always check with your doctor because there's certain people who supposedly shouldn't be on it. So, but that's usually one I like to do to start with somebody if they're willing to try it.
Yeah, I was going to say we could probably blanket that to everything, right? You should always check with your doctor before starting anything. That's for everyone because
Absolutely.
coming into it, yes, diabetics would be another one on my list of a watch out for fasting. So for the average person though, and if the doctor gives the thumbs up, I have also heard people really thriving through this process. My question to you is, do you go into your first meal starving? Do you ever feel like you're overeating in that 6-hour window because you kick into a mind state of it's now or never, or I'm starving?
So I think when I first started, I did it slow. I just shaved off an hour until I got to that time window that I wanted to try for. And I think maybe the first couple of weeks you feel that little hunger pains. And then, I knew to expect that. And then over time, it basically comes to the point where I'm not hungry at all, but I know I said I would start at this time and have my 6 hours. I have to force myself to begin that process, which is awesome because I'm not hungry all day. I feel great. I almost feel inconvenienced of, starting my first meal. But then once you start that, then the engine's revving and I can't stop it. I hate breakfast foods. I don't like any of them. So it's easy for me to just fast all through the morning. And then, I don't eat until, sometimes 12, but usually 2 p.m. because I don't really go to bed till 11 o'clock at night. And I can't stop myself from going to that refrigerator. So that's why I picked my time window for that. But I feel great. And I've done longer fasts as well and seen benefits from that. But, that's also a little rougher and should be guided through one of those.
Right. Okay. So fasting, if it works for the individual, what's a fitness tip hack?
Just kind of more going on to the time under tension. like I said, you can do this with any program you're currently doing, and you don't have to do it all the time. If you're working out, doing Pilates or something like that, they pretty much slow everything down and just see for everything, doing 5 to 10 seconds, just try it. It's a little harder when you're in a class, like a Pilates class, you're getting instructed, you kind of have to go with the flow. But if you have some movements and you're doing them at home, just try holding those poses. I do a whole routine in the morning of activating my glutes where I go into like bridges and single leg bridges, and then I'll do little kickouts while I'm in that bridge and just going for time. And then actually start slowly doing like glute bridge thrusts where you're going up and down, but go with that time under tension theory of 5 to 10 seconds. You kind of pick it and go so slow. You're not going to be doing 20 reps of those. You're going to be doing like 5 or 6 because it's burning so much. And then so you can just add that in even on your workout routine at the gym if you're doing something. Try doing that theory, taking even the bicep curls, 5 to 10 seconds coming up, 5 to 10 seconds coming down. You can use less weight. You'll be burned out real fast. It might not even last 20 minutes in the gym doing it this way. And I'm telling you, it's just so much more effective at recruiting more muscle fibers, less risk of injury. And that's kind of the name of the game. Like I mentioned, I had a lower back injury and survived all this kind of stuff. And for me, the name of the game is I don't ever want to get an injury again. It's just not worth it. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I got my personal records on everything. I can think back to those days of deadlifts and pushing up 315 on the bench press, but that doesn't matter to me. A goal of mine is to make it past 100, with still a working body and muscles.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's more of the norm of the population, right? Is to fight for an injury-free, healthy body that serves us throughout our days. And I'm loving the time under tension. I'm picturing this microwave society where we want everything fast and now and instant, which for results, as well as when people are in their workouts, I think it feels like we have to be hardcore. And I love that you're just emphasizing, no, you don't. Hardcore can be time under tension. It just looks totally different. So
Yeah,
there's different ways to do this. And that's what you keep preaching. And I'm loving that. And so what am I not asking?
yeah. So I got a bunch of them, but I always like talking about the ones that people don't talk about too much. But checking your pH level in your body. A cool test to do is buy some of those pH saliva test kits from like Amazon, or I'm sure CVS or Rite Aid has them. There's a sliding scale of on the left side being very acidic, and then going down the scale, it's a numbered system between like 0 and 10, at least for these test kits. And then 10 being the absolute most base you can do, like, which is like Drano. You obviously can't have that in your body as well. But just from doing research, and it seems to be anywhere from 7.2 to 7.4 is this alkaline state that our body thrives on. And using those test kits to test, you start realizing, man, I'm a little more acidic. Usually people are more acidic than base. One thing is cleaning up your water source. Drinking a lot of those LaCroix or those soda waters with 0 calories. Yeah, they're probably healthier than their cousins, but it's still an acidic liquid that you're digesting. And my wife loves those things. And, out of our whole family, she's the worst one on those test strips. So we started switching her off more to getting mountain spring water, good with electrolytes, and it's real clean. It's from Sparklets. This is the thing you're consuming the most per day. Why don't you clean that up? Just seeing her pH level go right into the sweet spot with just like 2 weeks. So you give someone like a product like that they can test and play that game. And it's more for an overall health of adjusting your pH and feeling healthier and cleaner. Then, you can go on to diets and that kind of stuff too. But it's just a cool place to start if people are wanting to test it.
So I don't talk pH very often. When somebody is seeing their numbers out of range, what is that telling you overall? How can it be affecting the person negatively?
So I think in an acidic state, it's harder to build lean muscle mass. There are theories that cancer and diseases thrive on that. That's been talked about a lot. So we don't know how much damage we're doing in that acidic state, but we do know these things exist that are bad for us. It's educating yourself and seeing the research of being a little bit higher on that pH scale, drinking cleaner water versus canned soda water. It just sounds like a no-brainer. And yet when I test it, oh, look, it fixed it. And so that's kind of the theories. But, there's obviously doctors and scientists that are well more versed in that could explain more about the alkalinity and acidic.
Oh, I just appreciate the introduction to it. My brain
Yeah.
has not gone there as something to investigate. So it's interesting.
Yeah. And then there's things that's weird because you'll more acidic things like apple cider vinegar or lemon juice. You think you're putting acidic stuff into your body, but your body actually alkalizes it and alkalizes your body because of it. So
Mhm.
there's a whole world of that kind of stuff. But an easy one to fix is just water.
Yes, I love it. You said you do virtual as
Hmm.
well as in your gym, right?
Yeah, I have one gym left that I work out 2 days a week right now, and the rest is virtual.
So take us through a client's journey of somebody who's going, I haven't done the virtual thing yet. What are all the benefits that you see, and what does that session even look like when you're virtual?
Yeah, so the sessions is, we always do like a 15-minute consultation on Zoom. Everyone uses Zoom. It's just so easy. For a lot of the stuff I do is more of being a fitness consultant. I can write programs out and charge for that, but it's more beneficial in my mind to have a consultant and then go somewhere where a physical person is watching your form. There are some things that I can do to check a person's form on certain exercises, but I'm not there on Zoom watching them work out for the 30 minutes to an hour, a few different exercises and going from there. But like I said, I prefer to be the consultant, Zoom calls once a month, once every other month, whatever works for the client, into personal fitness and everything. But more of my knowledge, being a personal trainer for 14 years, just all that, this is why you hire a professional. Anyone can educate themselves, and that's great. And my job is to educate that client up to my level, but they're not digesting and immersing themselves into fitness like both of us in our worlds. This is what we eat, sleep, and breathe, and will continue to do so. So if you're looking for that person that has a little bit more experience than you do, why not use them as a accountability coach and coach?
I love that. I was telling you before we hit record that I have deemed myself an accountability coach. And I feel like you're ultimately being their accountability coach as well. We're showing up to do the goal setting and then send you out, see how the week goes, and then come back and check in. It really
Exactly.
is. I feel like people get conscious about, I can't believe I'm hiring someone to be my accountability coach or to like have to hold my feet to the fire. Do you bump into that where it's like seeing the value behind this is important? You'll actually show up if you do it this way.
Yeah, and I mean that's the whole game of personal training is they obviously had the need and desire that they tried this themselves, and a lot of them were knowledgeable. Some were doctors, but they come in because they need the motivation, the accountability. They need someone who cares. The worst person to work out and use as an accountability coach is like your friend. I've had tons of friends that were my workout buddies, and something always happens. They never show up. They show up late. It just ruins the whole thing. And it's just better knowing that that person is there for me. We have a scheduled time, and yeah, and also in our profession, a lot of our job is like entertaining as well. We make the experience fun. And then when it comes down to accountability, God, I'm a personal trainer. I need an accountability coach. I've been going to a different gym just to get out of my own gym in Costa Mesa. It's a little bit of drive. It's a little high tech kind of fitness studio. I've got 3 people that work there that are my trainers now. And I probably do know more than all of them, but it doesn't matter. I need something new. I need someone watching my form, and I just need something different. And it's just great. So like I said, even trainers need trainers.
Oh, 100%. I love being personal trained. And it is not from a lack of knowledge. I love it on my schedule. I love somebody else to just create it. I can walk in and it's brainless. Like somebody else already
Yes.
put the time and effort into telling me what to do. So,
Yes, I
yes.
don't want to think. I already do that on my side, being the personal trainer. So
Right.
when I go in there, I don't want to think. I don't even want to think on the car ride there. I just want to listen to music, vibe out. When I get there, total surprise, what's about to happen.
Right. And I love that you mentioned the social aspect of it too. I really bonded with my clients, and I'm sure you do. And it's one of those, a session that is a half an hour, they're always like, it's over. Wait, that didn't feel like anything. Versus if we're left to our own devices, it feels like that half an hour we clock watch the whole time. So there's so many benefits. And I
Yeah.
hope everyone's hearing that out of you. And just to hear your enthusiasm and your personality, anyone would enjoy being with you that's listening to you. And I think it's important to just give that permission to everybody. If you're not loving your trainer, if you haven't had a good experience with the trainer yet, keep looking. There is more out there. You just haven't found the right person yet.
Yeah. Or it's okay to try different things all at the same time. You don't need to just stick with one place and that's the only place I'm allowed to go to. No. Mix it up. I go to Pilates once a month too because it's beneficial. I can work on my time under tension there, and it's just like I said, just a different style, and I like it.
Agreed. Where is the best place for people to find you?
Yeah. So my podcast, Over 40 Fitness Hacks, it's 40, not spelled out 40. You can find that on iTunes, Spotify, whatever your favorite player is. I'm on like 13 different platforms. And then my website's probably the best way to contact me, over40fitnesshacks.com. Also 40, not spelled out. And has got blogs, access to my email, and any questions. And I really like when people send me questions of something they want to talk about because I'm always looking for more content. I just need the spark of the question, and I could go all day on this subject. So I really love when people reach out.
That's awesome. So definitely utilize him, everybody. And I will put everything in the show notes. One last thing that I always like to ask my guests, if you could wrap your arms around our listeners today and say, you've heard nothing that I talked about today, please hear this. What would that tidbit be?
Oh, mine is just slow down, not just with the workouts, but just everything you want. There's so much time you don't even realize. I've built this body up and down a million times. Your body just comes right back. So if you're coming off an injury or you haven't done anything, you're starting back, do not be one of the New Year's resolution crowd people where I want to go all out and go 7 days a week and hardcore diet and all these supplements. No, baby steps, one thing at a time. Make it something that you want to do and you're passionate about, and then just start adding those things and focus more on what makes me feel good versus how am I going to lose this belly fat. All that'll come naturally anyways. Just slow down and do not burn out, because just like anything, even in business, if I do too many things at one time for my business, the whole thing will just come crashing down. I can't. I got to do one thing, whatever I love doing, do that, and then slowly add things. So
Thank you, Brad. So beautifully said. Slow down. Thank you so much for joining us today.
thank you so much, Lindsay, for having me on the show. It was awesome.